This crowd literally wants to get rid of our form of government.
A leader of the Democratic Socialist of America recently explained why abolishing the U.S. Senate is a part of their official platform. His explanation: historically, it was meant to serve very wealthy people who owned a lot of land. Excuse me? That is an incredibly misleading rewrite of why the Senate was created. At the Constitutional Convention, large states wanted representation based on population, and small states feared being dominated by a handful of populous states. So the Great Compromise gave us both: a House that represents people based on population, and a Senate that gives every state an equal voice. That compromise helped make the Constitution possible. It also created intentional friction through longer Senate terms, staggered elections, and two differently represented chambers that generally have to agree before a bill becomes law. Now, the founders absolutely had concerns about property, class, and sudden swings in public opinion. We can acknowledge those honestly, but the Senate was created to serve wealthy landowners, strips away the Great Compromise, federalism, equal state representation, and checks and balances, and replaces all of that with a villain: the rich. Once you've been given a villain, abolishing the institution connected to that villain starts to feel morally obvious. That is the manipulation. There are legitimate criticisms of the Senate, but before advocating to abolish it, you should probably understand what you're abolishing. Who confirms judges and ratifies treaties? Who conducts impeachment trials? What protects smaller states from being politically overwhelmed by a few enormous population centers? And what happens when one proportionally elected chamber controls the legislative process without any other chamber checking it? Checks and balances, people. Maybe you have thoughtful answers to these questions, but you should have answers to these questions before fundamentally restructuring the federal government, because confident people can be wrong, and people promoting a political agenda have an incentive to present history in whatever way makes their agenda feel righteous, urgent, and inevitable. If one confident sentence gave you the villain, the history lesson, and your conclusion all at once, I encourage you to pause. You might feel certain, but you haven't earned your opinion yet. And if you are ready to stop letting confident people do your thinking for you, join us and think clearly. We are making lazy manipulation a lot less effective around here. Link is in bio.
Guys, I don't know why these people are crying like this. They supported what Mamdani is doing, and at the same time, look at how he's freaking out. I have been doxxed. Like he was not in support of this tax. At some point, a lot of these Democrats have been in support of everything Mamdani is trying to put on. And it has now reached a level that some can't even take it. A lot of these people will support him. From the days of election till now, he decided to put out this database, and it has triggered a lot of people on the internet to a level I've not seen in a long time. Now going back into Maher, B has been calling these people out every single day.
Well, here's proof that the Democratic Socialists of America are actually just communists.
So we're going to put up on the screen a few of the things that are part of your platform, and I want to ask you, just give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate.
True.
Okay. Replace the presidency and Supreme Court as we now know them.
Yep.
Abolish ICE.
Absolutely.
Abolish borders and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally.
As a long-term plan, yep.
Defund the Pentagon.
Absolutely.
Abolish prisons, at least in large part.
Yeah, again, as part of a long-term program, yeah.
Okay, so no prisons. Government or public ownership of most large corporations.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Abolishing prisons, abolishing ICE, abolishing the police, abolishing the Pentagon, abolishing the presidency and the Supreme Court, abolishing the Senate, and mass amnesty for every illegal in America. Rent control, government-run grocery stores, basically anything that consolidates power and centralizes government planning. Anything that tears down America. That's what these Democratic Communists of America want and what they're running on. Like these three bimbos just elected to Congress, and this literal supporter running for Senate in Michigan. And this chica who's running for Congress, who thinks America deserved 9/11, they're here, it's happening, they're in. The same ideas that inspired Mao's Great Leap Forward, which 40 million people. Vladimir Lenin's Soviet Union, which nixed 20 million. Castro's regime in Cuba, that's responsible for tens of thousands. North Korea. And I promise you, none of those tyrants mentioned above campaigned on destroying their countries. It started with, well, we just need to seize a little more power temporarily so we can finally deliver land, peace, bread, and equality. Nobody else can do it. We're the only ones that can fix it. Lenin's Bolsheviks ran on peace, land, and bread. They sell you all these promises. And then all of a sudden, you have one-party control, the abolition of independent systems, and centralized economic planning. And that's where the gulags and the famine came in. So the Democratic Communists of America, their ringleader, Hassan Piker, he literally spoke to the College Democrats Convention wearing a Mao-like suit. Mao Zedong, who ended up killing 40 million people. He dressed like him on purpose. What is going on? It feels like this is coming out of nowhere, but it has been brewing for a while, and I do think it's important that we know about it. Trying to make communism work is like trying to date the guy who's just inherently flawed and broken. You can't fix him. It's not gonna work this time, or ever.
This crowd literally wants to get rid of our form of government, the Senate, but also, and I quote, replace the president and Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by and subordinate to Congress. Yeah, no biggie. Just taking the very essence of our government, which is 3 branches checking each other and shit-canning 2.5 of them. Who could be this nuts? I'll tell you who. Morons who are still wearing masks in 2026.
B is saying this now and he's smiling because at some point he warned Democrat, they didn't listen. Taking a look at what Mamdani just did, imagine that someone like Trump did the same thing. You will see the kind of freak out that these people will be putting out every single day. Lawmakers will be freaking out, struggling to impeach him. People on social media will be freaking out. Mamdani did this, putting out people's address there. They look at it like a normal thing. Even the mainstream media can't pick up a topic like this to talk against. It's extremely concerning. It is high time these people learn to call out what is going on, as this might even get to a level we've not seen in a long time. I see a lot of Mamdani supporters on social media. They are against some of his policies, the kind of way he's carrying out some of these things. How on earth will you dog someone, post someone's information simply because you're struggling to collect tax from them?
New York is the greatest collision of proximity, humanity, culture, creativity, weirdness. And I'm like, I want that.
Yes, you've said that. Yeah. You love the city.
And I moved there in 2000. I was not rich. And I worked my ass off in New York. And I decided, you know what? I can't afford to live here. And I moved to Florida. But I decided I'm going to start a business intelligence firm called L2. And I started it in New York because A, it's an amazing place to start a business. And B, I always wanted to have a foot in New York. I started L2 in 2010. I sold it in 2017. And I've spent a bunch of time this morning trying to figure out what are the taxes, not the federal taxes, but the state franchise tax, real estate taxes, payroll taxes paid by L2.
If you watch this man's podcast, you realize the level of TDS in him is to a level you can't even control. And due to the things he is saying and experiencing right now, it should tell you some of these people act like they don't know what is happening until something touches them. He was in New York, he decided to flee to Florida. Why? That is a question a lot of people are asking. And suddenly, Mamdani decided to publish people who have houses in New York because of his tax the rich, policies that he's struggling to implement. And his name is on that database. Reason you see him now freaking out about Mamdani. So he never knew that this would happen. What exactly? I don't understand. I don't want to talk much about this guy. I get irritated every single time. I want to appreciate people supporting, sharing out the videos. I'm grateful. Please, this is a new one. Like I said, they don't recommend videos on this channel. I used to feel discouraged to continue to put out videos, but I decided to continue to do that, even if a single person is watching me, I will continue to post for them. So please, if you see my notifications, watch to a good land, and if possible, share the video and hit the clips up. If you see clips at the end, that's for white directive. You can always skip.
Why go see the movie?
Sunny from The View.
Much more than just who plays somewhere.
Yeah. So with all eyes on California, you can see exactly what's happening.
It was on here in the Golden State.
In 39 days, we will know.
In front of people.
And so this is my life.
You're talking about qualification.
Odysseus.
Telemachus.
Penelope.
Antinous. Odysseus.
Athena.
Telemachus. This clip of Elliot Page is going to be what takes the Odyssey movie.
Supposed.
One thing I feel really